And everything from this latest episode of Silo, season 3, episode 8. There's even talk that this might be the best episode of the season? Question mark? We're gonna find out in an old episode of Unbinged starting now. Welcome into Unbinged's podcast for the shows, movies, and news you love to binge. I'm Alfredo Brown, joined by Matt Kaufhammer and Vignesh Swami. We're going to talk everything from this latest episode of Silo. But first, Vig, give us a spoiler warning.
Folks, if you click this link and you did not realize that this is going to be full of spoilers, you should stop right now. But also, you should check on your reading comprehension skills. But anyway, obviously, we're going to spoil the crap out of everything that has happened in Silo up until and including this episode today.
Good way to start. Let's insult the audience, tell
Always.
them you're stupid, and then be like, "Hey, dum-dum, come check out our show now, you big idiot."
I'm just trying to do a little bit of what the Silo TV showrunners seem to be doing to us. They're making me feel a little stupid. I want to make our audience feel a little stupid.
Oh, I don't need them to make me feel stupid. I get that on the daily. I make content for a living. The commenters are always going to let you know you're stupid. I also have a 5'1"
You're
Latina
also
wife.
married.
All I have to do is step out of my office and she will let me know.
She'll put you right in your place.
Guys, can I ask you a serious question? Saying, I want to turn to gray goo with you. Is that romantic?
Can I take this
It's
one?
the most
Go ahead, Matt. You start with yours.
No,
I have thoughts about this one.
No, I
Big,
actually
all you,
want to hear
buddy.
Matt first because he's the only one of us that's not married, and I want to hear his thought. Like, would this be a line with you and Jessica Henwick, or just a lady of your choice?
I mean, I could absolutely see him, my dumbass, saying that line and hoping it would work, and then it falling completely flat. But I guess it worked in this context, so hey, good for him. Maybe
Look,
I should try being a
line...
super handsome congressman before I say it.
This line inspired me, to tell you the truth. It inspired me to create a new episode of Unbinged where we rank the top 10 worst romantic lines ever in television. I'm not sure that this would be number 10 among those, but it's in that top 10 for sure. It was terrible. It works because their chemistry has been terrible, but man, that was just so bad.
It's almost like the writers are like letting us know, like, don't worry, we see it too. We made the mistake, but we filmed too much and we can't undo it at this point.
Hey, at least it rhymes. I'll give him that. I want to be Grey Goo with you.
Yes, because that's what the ladies want, is for you to be awkward Dr. Seuss with them. And they're like, oh my God, I have to kiss you.
A certain lady, it might work. It worked on her, so.
Let us know if bad rhymes
never
work
say
on
never.
you. Koff was watching this episode. He's like, bars, man. This guy was throwing
I
down.
took notes. Just wait for the apocalypse and then say some stupid shit. Got it.
We won't be here tomorrow anyways. We got...
Well, wait for this is the thing. It's wait for the potential hypothetical may never happen apocalypse. Like there's, levels to this sort of thing.
Dude, we already have blueberries
like 6
we can't
options.
Eat. They're going to kill us before we even get to the silo part.
That's right. He didn't list, shitty salad on the apocalypse list. So we're doing something different.
I'd take shitty salad over death blueberries at this point, but I digress. Koff, before we started this episode, we were all talking, and you said this might actually be the best episode of the season. And Vig, I was saying I'm not enjoying the show as much as I was in the first couple seasons. You're like, I don't know. This show is still pretty good. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this because, Koff, I want to start with you because saying this might be the best episode of the season is strong. I want to hear your reasons as to why you felt that way coming out of episode
8. One of the big reasons is we got Steve Zahn back, and I thought he was an essential part of season 2 and the heartbeat of that season. So to bring him back and have the emotionality of him confronting the fact that his mom died a hero, but she still died, and seeing his body. Then you had the moment with Patrick Kennedy talking about like how they do burials in their silo. I thought all of that was fantastic. Everything in Silo 17 was incredible. Then you went back to Silo 16, and they're doing the stupid fucking wild goose chase in the mines, and that's when everything kind of was like, this is still a show that's not perfect. And at least we got some answers and we got some finality with that storyline with Billings and with the sheriff's deputy. But the thing that really came crashing down around my head that still makes me a little apprehensive about the show is everything going on with Camille and the end of the episode where they arrest Juliet. And it's like, okay, we're doing this again. It just seems really messy at times, but then you get some really good action. You get some really good writing in the other silo. So it's like it's the best episode, but it's still flawed, if that makes sense.
And the thing with Camille, I felt like was supposed to be the big cliffhanger for them to leave us on and be like, "Oh my god, they've been arrested again. Now what's going to happen?" And I don't know what it is, but I'm not feeling it yet. Vig, you said that this season, actually, I'm not going to take this from you. I want you to say what you have felt this season could be and why that's justifiable.
Yeah, so I think if you look at Series Graph, the website that talks about like every episode's rankings, everyone's sort of seen it, right? The
Mhm.
season generally has been just like the start to season 2. I think season 2, we look back and we're like, wow, we really enjoyed it because it had a strong ending, but every episode's a 7-1, 7-2, 7-5. It had a 6-9. Like 6.9 was like the worst
Nice.
Nice.
ranked episode. And yet overall, this season actually has about those same scores. And I'm not saying scores are everything, but I think this has a lot of potential for a season that is setting us up to the finale. I think they are doing the best that they can. Well, I shouldn't say they're doing the best that they can, but I do think they're trying to at least give us 10 episodes worth of content. And we've talked about this in previous episodes of our show. I don't think the season needed 10 episodes. I think that's the fatal flaw is you could have condensed a lot of this. You could have made the writing crisper, a lot more tight. You could have had all of this in about 6 episodes, and I think we would have liked it. I think we would like this on a re-binge. I think binge watching this series would help a lot.
Mhm.
But like Matt said, for this episode, we get back Steve Zahn. We get Silo 17. I don't know where he got Silo 16 from. I think Matt forgot that our Silo that we're watching is Silo 18. But anyway,
Oh, my bad.
but that's okay.
I
Not a
went
big
up
deal.
wasn't
instead
gonna
of, I went
correct you.
down instead of up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that overall they're answering a lot more questions for us, which is what we've asked for a long time. Some of the answers, like an elevator, in the book, a secret elevator would hit harder because that's so taboo, but we haven't earned that in this show yet. I think like we know it's a big deal, but we really don't know
You
why.
did
And I think
you
that's
didn't
where it's just
enjoy the reveal where the sheriff pops up? Is like, hey, what's going on, buddy? I'm in your elevator. That wasn't exciting.
it didn't do it for me because it just wasn't there. But I will say the cliffhanger ending of this time wasn't necessarily, to me at least, seeing that they're arrested yet again. It's kind of getting boring, and I think we know that like no arrests of Juliet ever really last. I think that's why it didn't land. But they ended with Bernard's face, and so I think that's what they're telling us. The dude, he's gonna do something to help save the silo and be this redemption character. I think he's gonna die, but we'll
Oh,
see.
dude, I think Martha and Bernard are gonna die. I think both of them are out. Her saying that I don't plan on living long enough to whatever she said to
Forget
get
Juliet
to forget
because of the
Juliet.
memory drugs.
Yeah, 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 I almost said live long enough to get poisoned, but yeah, she's not gonna live long enough to forget Juliet. And Bernard basically admits to us like his whole life he feels like has been a mistake to this point, and he essentially has no way to fix the sins of his past. So what happens when a character comes across that? They're going to try to fix the sins of their past
Sacrifice.
by sacrificing themselves. So I could totally see the two of them. We could have a Bernard being the one that is what is it, welding the pipe shut,
Mhm. Or him
welding
and
himself
Martha doing it
in the
together.
same way. Yeah, like they need two people for this. Yeah, I think that's where we're headed. Big
I
That
think
when
seems
that makes
most
sense.
likely.
oh sorry guys. Big you called this season. I was hoping you'd talk about it, but you didn't. You skated it.
I did.
You called this season a setup season. And I gotta say, like, just you saying that pissed me the hell off because I can understand setup episodes. I can understand a setup episode arc. A setup season where you're going to do 10 episodes and waste 2.5 months of my life to be like, hey, we're setting up the next season that could happen 2 years from now, which, by the way, every season of television is technically a setup season because it continues a story. I want to know what you mean by calling this a setup season because that like terminology and that identification of these 10 episodes kind of upsets me.
Yeah, I think part of the challenge here is that television has gotten really, really good. There's a lot of great TV around, and I think I'm trying to make an excuse for why I want to continue watching this. I want to know how the
So you're
story
lying to
ends.
yourself.
I am lying to myself because it's not bad. It's not an objectively bad television show. But when we have so much great and incredible television out there, this feels like a bit of a slog to continue watching week after week. Again, if this was 6 episodes, I may have felt differently. If I didn't lose 2.5 months of my life and this was binged over a weekend, maybe I would feel a little differently. But it is so stretched out. The pacing feels really off at times. This episode I actually thought was pretty well done, right? It didn't just feel like long periods of exposition. I still think it's suffering from some bad writing. Like when you see the sheriff with his wife, I mean, show don't tell, guys. Like he doesn't have to say at the end, but you didn't have me. That is so implied. Don't waste valuable screen time to do that. And if you have 10 episodes, do they have to be 50 minutes long? Maybe make them 30 minutes and it will feel better. The long answer short, I think I am lying to myself. I'm saying that this is, I mean, it's still a good TV show. Again, I'll use series graph. Like the average for the season is 7.5, which is marginally worse than last season,
Stand on
7.6.
business, Vig.
But
Don't tell me what
but I
other people
also
are
think
rating it.
but
How
I
do
also
you feel
think that
about
they're
it?
saying it's hard to say, right? I think season 2 looks really good because of those last 2 episodes. Now we have 2
That's
more
fair.
episodes of this one. And that's where I think it depends on how they land it, right? How many times have we seen a last couple of episodes really raise the entire, elevate the entire season?
Yeah.
Ultimately, though, I agree. Everything is a setup for something that comes next, but they're trying to set up the stakes so big to make this final season actually worth it, both in the past and in our like current silo world. And it's just not landing for me right now. I don't know if I'm the only one, but it's a fine
You're not.
TV show. I'll continue to watch. It's just not great.
You're not.
Do you know what this
Everyone's
reminds
feeling
me
that way.
of? So this show very much reminds me of the Maze Runner series, where it started incredibly strong, and by the end, it was like it's very messy, and you don't get very satisfying answers, and that's what this feels like we're going towards. It's like it had a very strong premise, and then it kind of lost its footing a little bit, and then we're leading towards an inevitable answer or ending that I feel is going to be inherently dissatisfying because they built it up so much that the reveal is going to be like, oh, it's a fucking elevator. Cool. That's where I feel like we're going with this series. And like you said, it's not a bad show, but it's, to say in the kids' parlance, it's objectively mid. That's where I'm at with it.
I don't even think it's mid. We just don't watch terrible television. But like, I mean, compare this to, I don't know, The Acolyte. You still think this is mid? I think that's the thing. In the grand scheme, it's a good show, but we have so many great shows that we cover. I mean, yeah, that's the one compared to The Penguin, which is like a 9 to 10 out of 10. Sure, very few shows are going to hit that. But I think let's take a step back. I don't want to be too critical of everything. What did we really enjoy about the show? Like in the first couple of seasons, what did y'all like the most?
It's the intrigue of like, why the fuck are they in a silo? Like, what is outside? It's the mystery of like what happened to the society that they're in a fucking silo, and they're stretching that mystery out a little bit too far.
I agree. They're stretching it out, but it's still there. We kind of know why they built the silos now. We kind of got some answers, but we still don't know what's happened out there. We assume it's nanotechnology, but maybe we understand
that story to the side a lot, and they have really prioritized this poison pipe. And it's basically an entire 10-episode arc of, oh my God, this AI computer is going to poison us. And that's it. And that's what we've been dealing with. It's kind of, it's almost like what you would see in like the Austin Powers movie where the guy has the steamroller going at the henchman and he's like, no, and he's just doing that for like a good 45 seconds. That's what this season of television feels like, where the poison pipe in episode 10 finally being capped is the steamroller, and us as the audience just like, no, for 10 straight episodes. And that's where I think like it was different, because in season 1 there was the constant intrigue and new questions, and not necessarily, and I think it was helped and boosted a little bit by new characters and new storylines constantly, but there were new questions coming up. Whereas this is like, oh, we had to go back to this character that you met in season 2 to make you feel something again, right? And like, and we have to fake that people maybe died last episode. Oh, but good reveal, they're not dead right now. A lot of it just feels like at this point the thing that's holding us in there is, will they die or not? And as a viewer, I feel like I'm getting to the point where I was like, you know what? Just kill them all. I kind of don't care. And that's crazy, because like I'm always like, no, I hope they make it out. At this point, I feel like they've edged me long enough, and I'm just like, all right, well, if they die, I guess it was just kind of meant to be. At this point, it's their fault.
Yeah, the poison pipe going on for the entire season is egregious. That should have been 3 to 6 episodes and then
Right.
resolved. Either the whole silo dies or they figure out how to cap it. But having it stretched out this long is very much. I'm at the Camille point where I'm like, just fucking do it then. I don't care. Like, what?
Yeah,
Stop threatening us with a good time.
And this had the opposite of, how you have like just some savior comes in at the end with the brilliant idea to save them. This was the opposite. I really didn't like the, oh my gosh, Jules realizing at the last second that she sent them to the wrong location. I'm like, come on. That is such terrible writing. Like, find a different way for them to get arrested and mess up. But don't make it like we've relied on Jules all this time to be so brilliant and caring, and now she made this fatal error. Like,
She's
those
the
are the
only
things that I
engineer
have
that knows
gripes
her
with.
directions.
Yeah, like, come on, mechanical. You're like the best mechanical, and now you're forgot left and right.
But this show does that. I want to talk about that. Let's hop into that in a second. But first, guys, if you're watching or listening, please take a sec to like this video here on YouTube. Comment down below with your thoughts. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leave that 5-star review for us. It means the world. It helps us grow. It helps us get in front of more eyes, more ears, and we want to make Unbinged as big as possible and put on as many shows as we can for you guys and cover all the TV shows and the movies and the topics that you want from us. In order to do that, we're going to need your help. So please help us out with those 5-star reviews. Coming up every Monday, we're going to be covering Lanterns on HBO. Every Wednesday, we've got Ted Lasso on the audio side, so you can catch that on Apple or Spotify. And then every Thursday night, we're going to be finishing Silo, hopefully with some more positive episodes coming up. And then we'll have Dark Matter once Silo is done as well. So stick around with us for that. What I was going to say here with Silo is it has started to do this thing where they tell you a person is very smart or that they have done smart things, and then they inherently begin to show you a consistent pattern of them making stupid decisions or making a lot of mistakes. And I feel like oftentimes that's what takes me out of it, whether it's Jules and her mistake there, or like even going back to, let's talk about the flashback really quick. Just like the small conversation in which like this richest man in the world that can afford a massive team of scientists and the most brilliant people ever, and before they started on this world and society defining project, they did not do the simple cost analysis of actually you need 50 diggers, not 10. But this guy over a summer salad was just like, hey, you know what, you probably need 40 more diggers. Go talk to everyone in your team, they'll tell you. How many meetings did you have, dude? So like that's something where as a viewer, and we talk about this a lot, it's kind of you paint yourself or you put yourself into a corner when you say these are really smart people and then they do dumb things. We talked about that in Paradise, we talked about that in The Boys, we talked about that in Fantastic Four. Having very smart people doing dumb things makes the viewer stop believing that they are smart, and I think it kind of breaks down what that character loses what they're supposed to be to us.
It breaks
Yeah.
the immersion too,
Right.
because you're pulled out of it because you're like, that is such an egregiously stupid thing to do that not even a dumb person would do it.
If I wanted to watch The Big Bang Theory, I'd go watch The Big Bang Theory. Like,
Actually,
there
you
you
can
go.
watch
Shots
Stewart
fired.
Saves the Universe on HBO Max right now.
No,
Full season streaming now.
thanks.
Not an ad. They have a lot of
Not
cameos, I
sponsored.
hear. Vig, for the love of God, there's a mute button. Use it.
oh,
Like
that
your
is so
fourth
true.
cough.
I'm sorry, man.
It's like your
No,
fourth
cough
cough
on
on the
camera.
podcast. Jesus.
I have a
Get a
toddler,
lozenge
man.
and use
It's
the
hard
mute
to
button.
escape. Well, I got the lozenge, but the toddler's too strong. His sickness is too powerful.
All right, guys, we're talking about the flashback here. Thoughts on this, Vig, when you're watching the flashback? What was standing out to you most in this conversation that we're having with what's it? Is Colin Hanks, right?
Colin Hanks.
Yeah.
I don't know his character name, but he's Colin Hanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, I think we wanted answers. We can't complain forever that we want answers, and then when we finally get answers, be that upset. I think like we could all have qualms with how it happened, and they're like really upset at Nancy Drew. Can we talk about how I love that her last name is Drew here for Helen Drew, and so they just like call her Miss Drew like she's some Nancy Drew investigator. But she says the obvious thing that anyone would have said, and then like they're like, why would you do that, what does that achieve? And I was like, what do we need this for? Like, yeah, sure, Charlotte's upset, obviously. That whole sequence was again like just
It was so
jarring, and like just
because
come on, guys. Like,
the way they presented it, the way she was just talking generalities and she was talking shit to Colin Hanks. And then
Like,
they're like,
"Look what
why
you've
did you say
done."
that to Charlotte? It's like, she wasn't even looking at Charlotte. Like, what the fuck?
It felt
Oh.
like Home Alone, where like Kevin's just talking about like how life is so unfair for him, and they're all like, "Look what you did, you little jerk!" And then they just shove him
You
up in
little
the
shit.
attic, and the whole family hates him. That's exactly what happened to Helen here. Like she was just saying, "Wait, you guys sent all these pilots to go die," and they're like, "Look what you did to her.
I
Don't
know.
even talk to her. Don't look at her.
Go
Go home."
apologize.
Like, what the fuck?
I will say the one thing that flashback helped me with is it helped me get the password to the How Did We Lose This World website. Have y'all ever checked that out, by the way? Like the website
What?
that Apple TV created for this show that has like screen caps and shots and videos
No,
and everything else.
This is the first
no,
I'm
shit,
hearing
go
of
on,
this.
Oh my
go
gosh, yeah.
on.
I've been looking at for each one. Yeah, so they created like a an accompanying website for this whole thing that has like little tidbits. It has like if you go in, it'll give you like little parts of the non-disclosure agreement they signed, though most of it's redacted. It's just little tidbits for people like love the theory and lore. Anyway, if you are listening to this episode, you've clearly watched the show. Go to howdidwelosethisworld.com. There's a little thing. It creates a fake desktop. Click on season 8. The password is Rosemary. So check it out later.
Oh,
It's just a
interesting.
whole list of frozen blueberries that you can get at Publix.
It was so. Speaking of Rosemary, I did think that was an interesting scene between the congressman and his sister Charlotte, where he utilized effectively smell to restart a memory or to bring a memory back, and that is actual psychological science where smell is the strong can be a strong indicator to bring back memories. So I wonder if the show's going to be like, oh, this super smart psychologist or psychiatrist forgot about smell, and that's going to be the secret way that Daniel's going to unlock memories for Charlotte is he's going to utilize smell, and that would be very upsetting because that's very simple neuroscience.
Again, that would be really annoying because it goes back to what Alfredo said, like really smart people missing
Smart
really
people doing dumb
straightforward things.
shit.
I don't think that's why they did this. Rosemary is sort of known to support like, memory and cognitive function and that sort of thing. I think it was just like a let's do this and tie it into Rosemary Chicken to help her get back some of her memory. I don't think they're that dumb.
I
It
hope
can't
not.
just be stuff and visual relics. Like smell might be a bit of a relic too, but I don't think he misses it. But I do think you bring up something nice. I think for a whole show that's about memory and using memory to control society, I think bringing smells into it might be a piece of the puzzle, but it's like a piece of the puzzle no one really asked for. Just like don't make it more complicated.
When the Chet Hanks not Chet, Colin Hanks character is
It's a
talking.
very
I messed
different
that
show
up
with Chet
already.
Hanks.
Yeah. When the Tom Hanks character, when he's talking about like everything going on with Iran, do you guys actually believe him? Because I think that's another thing, right? Is like we're getting this exposition, but how much do we believe what he's saying? Where he created the nanotech because, well, other countries are doing it, and if they beat us to it or they're using it before us, we have to do it. And actually, when Charlotte and her team flew in, it was their nanotech that got them, not ours. There are still layers of us getting this exposition and me not believing it as a viewer. Where are you guys at on this?
That's interesting. I didn't even consider the viability of was he lying about
You didn't
other
consider that
countries
the
and
rich white man was probably lying about making money and weapons
I might be showing my
and
bias
foreign
because
countries?
I didn't consider it. Like when he said, we dug a tunnel and nuked Iran, I was like, that sounds like the U.S. That makes sense. Sounds like something we would do.
No, totally is something we would do. It's the reasoning behind it. It felt like the most 80s action movie plot that I've seen. It's like, well, actually, Iran's the bad guys, so we outbatted them. We did better.
Yeah. But to me that sounds believable, and the fact that there's this cutting edge technology that was weaponized by a foreign national company or country, and we had to neutralize them. That sounds very much like something the US would do, especially with the newer technology like nanotech, where it's like, for the longest time, nuclear energy and nuclear weapons were the big bad and the big scary thing. And now we're getting to the point where it's like AI, nanotech, and things like that could be the thing that's even scarier, especially since nanotech is invisible. You can't see it.
So are we talking about
So
like
yeah,
privatized security by this one guy and his scientists, or is this like is it
well,
government contracts? Maybe
It's
I'm
probably
asking
government
stupid questions,
contracts.
but
No. These are good questions. It sounds very much like Colin Hanks, his character built an empire using nanotech. He was one of the first ones. Imagine him starting Google, right? But with nanotech. And so now it's at a point where there are other companies who are either copying or doing similar things, but they're going in other directions, like weaponizing it. That's where the US, the country of the United States government, be like, we're the only ones that should have this kind of power, just like with nuclear weapons back in the 40s, 50s, and so on, when the US tried to keep it within their grasp and it didn't. So yeah, I could absolutely. I didn't think he was lying at all. I was like, yeah, that sounds absolutely like what would happen.
Vig, as a non-white, how did you feel? Was he lying?
Um, I know some answers to this based on what you have in the books. So whether he's lying or not, I think could be another plot point. And whether there's two options, right? Either he truly is that magnanimous and really worried, and maybe he wants to be the savior of the world. Maybe it's not about the money, right? When you have all the money in the world, maybe it's the legacy that matters. And maybe this whole thing about Stenson's folly is really less about his folly and being, I am the savior of humanity. That could be one
I'm
thing,
right.
Thank you. That's
right?
exactly where my head is there's always that concept of what do you get the man that has everything, right? And how often do we see that where uh rich people get bored? Like we talked about this in The Boys, remember with oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her character's name, but like our
Sage,
smartest character in the world. It's like, well, why are you doing this now? I'm bored.
because I want to see if I can.
Right, like I want to see if I can. And so when Helen is talking to him about like you could solve world hunger, you could end poverty, you could do all these things, he's like, all those are nice, that's not my goal. So then what is his goal? He can't say that he wants to save the world, but like not save the world that way, it does seem like what he wants to do is not just save the world, but act as a savior so he can control that version of the world.
So are you thinking there's a false flag element where he is the one that caused the end of the world, so that way his silo project would be the thing that saved the world?
Something along those lines. I think he's being very opportunistic here, in which I can do it where, yes, this stuff may happen and maybe there's better ways to fix it, but the world is so broken. Let's not fix the broken world. Let's create a new one in how I want to create it and I can control it, because
It's
money has already bought me everything, but it has not bought me the control of the world. Maybe I'm thinking way too far into this, but that would make this character so much more interesting, as opposed to he's just the rich guy that wants to build silos, because that'd be the most boring fucking character ever.
It'd be like a firefighter who's an arsonist on the side, so that way he gets more
He's
accolades
Dexter.
as the one that. Yeah, okay. I like this theory. I'm bought in on this. He's the one that ends the world, so he could be the savior of the world. I like that. Hell
And
yeah,
you could
I'm back
see
here.
like a megalomaniac selling this to themselves, saying, I need to
Yep.
get this entire world destroyed because and he might convince himself, right? Nuclear bomb the entire world so that we can destroy all the nanotechnology, but also save the world with the silos.
Brother, is this not Elon Musk? Like,
Yeah,
is this
yeah.
not like the guy who hated an internet platform and what was being said on it so much that he just bought it? This character even says, oh, I could have bought Iran. You could have bought a country, sir? I'm
He could have
sorry.
bought the Strait of Hormuz.
Like, when people think that way, I don't think that we can try to understand them logically the way we would think. I think we have to understand them as almost a person with a consistent God complex. That's how I'm going to be looking at this character from here on out.
He's absolutely the type of character that sees a problem, goes, that's too broken, just get rid of it and start over. And that, I think, yeah, okay, I'm back in. If that's the reveal that what is his name, Per Stenson, Per Stenson,
Mhm.
Per Stenson, he turns out to be the guy that pushed the button that ended the world, so that way his silo project could be the thing that repopulated and restarted the world in his image. Oh, hell yeah, back in.
Anything to hate a good billionaire from Matt. I'm bummed
Honestly,
I
I'm simple.
wasn't on the episode for the last episode, but when Per Stenson goes something about like, oh, billionaires, they're the worst. I was like, they got Matt back in. That's how Matt's back in.
I was like, hang on, isn't he a billionaire? No, he's a trillionaire.
I think he's a trillionaire. So he wasn't including himself.
Another Elon Musk thing. Do you know how much $1 trillion is? It's 1,000 billion.
I do love him teaching the journalist what 1,000 billion is.
Right. I did like when the congressman gave him his little analogy about the glass full, half empty. He's like, "Hey, an engineer would be like, it's two times too big."
I I think if that ends up being the storyline, I wanna spend more time in the flashback because I think it'll be inherently more interesting. Like, I got myself way more interested in the show by talking myself through this theory, because I think that would be kind of cool. Where I get lost or sometimes disinterested in the show is like, "Oh, cool, we're doing a whole thing with Harwood stealing supplies." I I just like I don't care about that storyline right now. I well, actually, what got me a little bit more interested is Jules and Bernard and talking about the structures of the silo because it felt like it kind of worked hand in hand with watching the silos get built. And that's what they say like we do have these flashes of good writing and good structure in the show is you see how the silo is being built, the best way to build them, and then seeing how the pipes were kept in previous efforts and then Jules and Bernard talking through the engineering of it all. What would be the best way to do it? What she saw. That's where I get very intrigued because now we're doing some problem solving and we're starting to piece in parts of the puzzle.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that this time they're not like, oh, we are gonna cap it and do the same thing they did. They're like, we're gonna try something different. We're gonna try to cinch it shut. And still weld it to do extra. That part was kind of nice. I did want to go back to this reveal. I know we keep joking about the elevator. Obviously, there's more to it than that. I want to give you a theory I have on how this could be good writing because writing's all about great payoff. What if this is an extra silo area where they're stealing and keeping everything that's not contained within the walls of the silo, something that is immune, let's say, to the safeguard because it's not contained within the silo? And this criminal ends up being the saving grace by creating an area outside of the silo where people could survive through his mines and elevator or whatever else that nonsense might be. That I think has some potential. I don't know that they're going that route, but something like that would, I think, again, make it good. Make like, I think introducing areas of gray where like an evil person's evil acts end up saving humanity, that makes it more intriguing to me.
So I guess my question is like they haven't spent enough time really explaining how the mines work because they're just like the mines, the mines, the mines. You can only go so far in the mines, and it's like, okay, where do the mines start? Where do they go? Like, where is it? Where's that area? And like you said, if this turns out to be an area that technically, because they've dug outside of the boundaries of the specific silo, will the safeguard even reach those areas? And we saw in season, what was it, season 2 or earlier this season, where they had to send in the exterminators physically to
Mhm.
gas the mines. So I'm wondering if that's
Yeah.
going to come into
Yeah.
play, like you said, where, oh God, they've hit the safeguard, everybody to the mines, and then if you're deep
Yeah.
enough, you're safe.
And
So
that has to be it, right? You got to have storylines converge, right? You can certainly have multitude of different threads, but if those threads don't tie back together to form some degree of singular storyline, you've really lost the plot, literally and figuratively. So I wonder where they're going with all this. And I've been wondering for, again, like 10, you talk about 10 episodes of wondering about the safeguard, 10 episodes wondering about, oh my gosh, we meet Orla Kent in the beginning at the council. Now she's dead. I'm like, you're dragging this on, but it could have good payoff. And that's my theory. I don't know. Do y'all have any other thoughts as to why this extra storyline exists?
I actually think that needs to be the payoff, the mines, because if not, like what was Lucas Kyle doing down there this whole time and talking about him like digging in different directions and whatever the hell he was doing down there, right? And being gone for so long where the people of the silo thought he was dead. My dog, what were you doing? That there's nothing down there. So I would have to assume he has discovered something. Maybe he's holding this and he's playing a little close to the vest on this one where he's not sure when he can give out this information. I think there has to be some sort of payoff to that. Cough. I'm on
Nah,
board
I
with you.
think you're overthinking this, man. I think Luke he just needed to avoid the cameras and avoid everybody else, and mines were the safest place to like be away from all of that. That's got to be the
But that's
answer
maybe,
the
for
point
Lucas
then,
Kyle.
right?
maybe.
Like if there are no cameras down there, if there is nothing else down there and it's easy to avoid, then the mines probably become the safe haven away
Mhm.
from this gas.
The true safeguard was always in the mines.
I mean, wouldn't it make the most sense, right? Like where it's almost like an Andor where they talk about like walking into the Empire. They're so stuck up and they believe that like the other people around them could never
They're
actually infiltrate them,
untouchable.
that they'll never actually look down. Wouldn't that make the most sense for IT and
Yeah.
the AI that it would overlook this, that the mines are not a habitable place, inhabitable place for anyone here? Why would they go down there to save themselves from this? If we just keep them out of it, they'll never think of it. It To me, it actually starts to add up. I'm actually more interested in the show now as we've talked through a lot of these theories because I think we could get some really good payoff from these things. And I'll have to uh, quell my own expectations because if some of these theories don't come true, I don't want to be disappointed, but that might be hard.
No, I think there's little breadcrumbs that lead us to this. Harwood says, I think in the last episode, something along, hey man, most of the folks in the mine, they're not all murderers and rapists. It's like a person who did something a little stupid and they're being heavily punished. It's why I like the old guy, the old sheriff. He would look the other way if it was pretty minor. So I think it's also again telling that this place that you think is the worst of the worst, that's looked down upon, that the algorithm doesn't think is a big deal. They're like, oh, it can't be anything. Ultimately, them playing a huge part in saving everybody else, I think has got to be a huge part of this storyline, or else it just feels like it's all for naught.
Yeah, I always thought they were going, pun intended, the direction for the mines of they're going to dig into the mine system of the neighboring silo,
Right.
and that's how they'll escape the safeguard. Because if you could dig into, say, a silo 17 that's already been either safeguarded or they prevent this when they capped it off, then you have a whole new silo that you can push people into or get people into, and then you can repopulate that one. So I always thought that's where this was going to go, but maybe it still is. Maybe they're going to get everybody as many people into the mines as possible to prevent them from dying from the safeguard, and then the only option is to then keep digging forward or out into the next silo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is where I'm at with these, man. Like I think that we obviously don't have a lot of time left for payoff here, right? This is episode 8. We've got 2 more episodes, if I'm not mistaken, and the payoff should be happening soon. I think what we always talk about this as we get closer and closer to the end of seasons is we either need payoff from these storylines or start to excuse the terminology, but cull the herd in terms of what the storylines are. Is maybe some of these don't matter right now, and we can let those linger on until the next season, and let's put those in the back burner. Some of these things. Where I found myself like the Knox and Shirley thing, taking out the birth control, cool. I'm glad it was just a very quick thing and they
Correct.
moved on from it. Like that's the way to do it. Sims and Camille and the whole like, oh, I need your son to remember us. Cool. We were quick through that. But then by the end of it, obviously Sims is in jail with Juliet. And I first of all, Common's acting is still killing me, guys. It's still killing me. I'm so sorry. It really is. But I start to ask myself, like, okay, what is the thing that is keeping me intrigued for next episode about those 2 characters being in this prison, right? Is it them getting out? Is it them solving the problem? Is it other people solving the problem without them? Like, what has you guys on edge going into this next episode?
With those 2 characters specifically, not much. I guess a
And
rescue
that's the thing,
attempt.
right? Is because they've kind of been issued to us as the main characters of the season, Jules and Sims.
And literally
So if
got
we're not interested
sidelined.
in them,
Yeah. Who knows? I
I don't know that we're
I
not.
could see an entire or an entire episode of them stuck in jail while everybody else does shit, and then the 10th, the finale is when they get rescued,
you
if
mean
you
an
will.
entire episode?
Yes, entire episode. Did I say season? I meant
You
episode.
said a
I could
season.
see
My face went into my hands so fast. If they did an entire season, I'm
of them in jail. No, I could see them doing all of episode 9 or all the way until the end of episode 9, them stuck in jail, and then they get rescued at the end or the beginning of episode 10. That's what I think is going to happen, which is not exciting television because they're just going to do a lot of dialogue between the 2 of them and talk about their mistakes. I guarantee it.
do they
Yeah, I
bomb
think
Judicial?
That was gonna be my question. Like, they left all these bombs in there. Did no one just notice that a bunch of bombs are attached? Hopefully, they like took them off when they escaped. But you
Yeah,
never know.
I
You
thought it was
never know.
implied that Teddy, once they canceled the thing, Teddy had
Hopefully
them
took them
pull
out.
Yeah,
You never
if
know.
they didn't,
I hope
that's
they did.
oof.
That'd be pretty bad. But I don't know. The show's strength has not been, I think, in a lot of these one-on-one exposition conversation sort of things that happen. We've certainly had great examples of that, with Jules and Bernard and George in early season 1. But I think I'm worried that what they've done with Daniel and Helen may be what we get between Common and Jules, mostly just because of like a general lack of chemistry when they're interacting. Common's acting perhaps being like so monotone and everything that he does. I just don't know that that was the best sort of setup, but we'll see what happens. We do know, that's the seclusion cell. Cameras can't watch you. They kind of told us that there. So maybe there's something that happens. Speaking of watching, can I just get this off my chest? I've like wanted to say this 5 different times. This whole radio business, man, and like them clearly being unable to stick to their code terms, code words. And do you really think the algorithm can't recognize Jules with a different voice saying, "Oh, yeah, I'm she doesn't even change her voice." None of them are changing their voice.
Deputy Kelso.
Like, Deputy Kelso, Deputy Crane. Like, no, it's just, I am absolutely not buying any of this. And again, I can't believe that
like Han Solo and the Death Star, where everything's fine over
That's
here.
exactly
We're all
what
good
I
here.
thought of.
How are
That's
you?
exactly what I thought of. It is just
How are you?
for an algorithm that's so smart. It goes back to what Alfredo said. And that's what I was going to mention this. For an algorithm that is so smart, it not catching that just is killing me.
Maybe radio is so low tech that it flies under the radar, and the algorithm doesn't even bother to monitor radio frequencies. Does that make sense? I don't know. But
No, it makes sense. No, it totally does. Totally does.
Fuck it. I'm in on all theories at this point. Jules, the algorithm, actually, she's not even a person. There's a tiny little alien inside working her body like Men in Black.
She's a time traveler.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Even better.
We need time travel. Paradise. Let's go. Get some paradise up in this.
Fuck. Okay, last question, guys. Would you rather live out the rest of your life on Earth and potentially become gray goo with your crush, or do you want to help create the silos and then, I guess, be part of society transferring to inside these giant holes in the Earth?
Do I want to be a Morlock? No.
I would always choose to be gray goo with you.
Especially you, Alfredo.
That's how you know it's time to end the episode. Guys, come back every week.
No, being seriously, in almost any apocalypse scenario, I want to die in the apocalypse. I do not want to be a part of the post-apocalypse bullshit. No,
we've seen too many movies.
Yeah.
We've seen way too many movies. We want a warrior's death. We're going to Valhalla.
Yep, exactly. I don't want to turn into Danny McBride's sex slave like Channing Tatum.
That was a hard left turn. All right, guys. Join us every week here as we cover Silo. Turn to Grey Goo with us over the next few episodes here, because we'll be back every Thursday night right after the episode airs on Apple TV Plus. That is Thursday nights at 9. Yes, I know it says it comes out on Fridays, but it's actually out Thursday nights at 9 p.m. You could join us on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify at 9:45 p.m. right after the episode. So be here every week with us. Thank you all for watching or listening all the way through. For myself, for Koff, for Vig, we'll see you next time. Adios.